Listen, I have seen a lot of strange things in my 60 cycles working as a docking coordinator on Terminus Halo. I have watched Vraxian war chiefs arm wrestle over shipping disputes. I have seen Keltharian acid spitters accidentally dissolve their own luggage. I have even witnessed a Grundle matriarch give birth in the middle of the food court, which, trust me, nobody asked for. But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, prepared me for the day Kira Voss walked onto my station. The alert came through my console around third shift. Standard passenger liner, mixed species manifest, routine customs check. I was halfway through my lunch, a nice bowl of fermented kelp paste, when my assistant Rollo burst into the office. Rollo is a Quilix, small, furry, generally terrified of his own shadow. The guy jumps when the air recyclers kick on. Vex, you need to see this, he squeaked, his whiskers twitching like he had just spotted a predator. Which, as it turns out, he had. I followed him to the observation deck overlooking Base 7. The passenger liner had already docked, and beings were filtering out in the usual chaotic mess. Families, merchants, a couple of bounty hunters trying to look mysterious. Nothing unusual. Then she stepped off the ramp. Human. Female. About average height for her species, maybe 1.7 meters. Dark hair pulled back in what I later learned was called a ponytail. She wore simple clothes, cargo pants, a fitted jacket, boots that looked like they had kicked through half a dozen worlds. She carried one bag, slung over her shoulder like it weighed nothing. She should have been unremarkable. Humans were rare out here, sure, but not unheard of. What made my mandibles drop was the reaction around her. Every single predator species moved. I am not talking about polite stepping aside. I am talking about the kind of instinctive, primal repositioning that happens when something higher on the food chain enters the room. A Vraxian enforcer, 2.5 meters of clawed muscle and battle scars, pressed himself against the wall as she walked past. A Keltharian couple, each capable of spitting acid through titanium plating, suddenly found the ceiling very interesting. Even a Grundle mercenary, a species that considers pain a hobby, shifted his bulk to give her a wider berth. The human, Kira, did not seem to notice. Or maybe she did and just did not care. She walked with this easy, rolling gait, completely relaxed, scanning the crowd with these sharp green eyes. Not threatening anyone. Not posturing. Just existing. What in the seven nebulas? I whispered. Rollo was practically vibrating with fear beside me. Predator, he breathed. Apex predator. Rollo, half the species on this station are predators. Not like that. He pointed a shaking paw at the human. Look at the prey animals. I looked. He was right. The prey species, the Quilix, the Punna merchants, the soft shells, they were not running. They were not panicking. They were watching her with this weird combination of caution and, was that respect? A Punna child, no more than a hatchling, actually waddled up to her. The mother made this strangled noise of terror, but Kira just crouched down, smiled, and said something I could not hear from this distance. The kid chittered happily. The human ruffled the kid's head fuzz and stood up, giving the mother a small nod before continuing on her way. That makes no sense, I muttered. Prey species should be terrified. They know, Rollo said quietly. They know she is not hunting them. I watched as Kira approached the customs checkpoint. The Vraxian inspector, a grizzled veteran named Croth who once told me he had never backed down from anything in his life, straightened up when he saw her coming. Not aggressive. Respectful. Like a soldier acknowledging a superior officer. She handed over her documents. Croth scanned them, his claws clicking nervously on the console. Purpose of visit, he rumbled. Refueling and resupply, Kira said. Her voice was calm, measured, with this underlying confidence that seemed to fill the space around her. Maybe grab a meal. I hear you have a decent human food vendor on the promenade now. We do. Level 15, Section 12. Croth stamped her documents faster than I had ever seen him process anything. Welcome to Terminus Halo, Miss Voss. Thanks. She took her documents, shouldered her bag, and walked through. I switched my view to the main promenade cameras, tracking her progress. Everywhere she went, the same thing happened. Predators made space. Prey animals watched, but did not flee. It was like watching royalty move through a crowd. Except this royalty could probably kill you with a protein bar and some wire. She stopped at a food stall run by a Quilix family. Old Mara, The grandmother who ran the place actually smiled at her. Smiled. At a predator. What can I get you, dear? Mara asked, her voice carrying through my audio feed. Something with protein, please. Surprise me. Kira leaned against the counter, completely at ease. While Mara prepared the food, a commotion erupted near the central plaza. I switched cameras and groaned. Zark the render. Of course. The idiot fancied himself a tough guy, all for arms and attitude. He was harassing a soft-shell merchant, waving those arms around, making threats. Kira turned her head slightly, watching the scene. For the first time, I saw her expression change. Something cold flickered in those green eyes. She paid Mara, took her food, and walked toward the plaza. Every being who saw her coming immediately stepped back. Zark the Render was in the middle of his usual speech, the one about respect and territory and how soft shells should know their place, when Kira walked up behind him. She took a bite of her food, chewing slowly, and just stood there. Waiting, the soft-shell merchant saw her first. His eye stalks swiveled, focused on the human, and something like hope flickered across his face. Zark, being the brilliant tactical mind he was, noticed the merchant's attention shift and spun around, all four arms. 2.2 meters of reptilian aggression. Facial ridges flared in what his species considered an intimidation display. He looked down at Kira, who was calmly eating what appeared to be a protein wrap. You got a problem, mammal? Zark growled. Kira swallowed, wiped her mouth with a napkin, and met his gaze. Yeah, actually. You are blocking my view of that really interesting cloud formation outside the viewport. I burst out laughing in the control room. Rollo made a noise like a deflating balloon. Zark's ridges flared wider. Do you know who I am? Someone with 4 arms and 1 brain cell, apparently. Kira took another bite. Look, buddy, the soft shell clearly does not want to do business with you. So why don't you take your dramatic performance somewhere else? Maybe audition for a station theater production? I hear they are doing a show about extinct species. You would be perfect. The crowd that had gathered started making sounds. Laughter, gasps, the universal noise of beings watching someone sign their own death warrant. Zark's hand, the upper right one, moved toward the plasma blade at his belt. That Kira's hand moved faster. I did not even see her drop the food. One moment she was holding her wrap. The next she had Zark's wrist locked in a grip that made the big reptile actually yelp. His hand was frozen centimeters from his weapon. She twisted, not hard, just enough, and Zark's knees hit the deck plating. Here is the thing about humans, Kira said conversationally, holding him there with apparently zero effort. We evolved on a death world. Everything on our planet wanted to kill us. The weather, the predators, the plants, even the tiny invisible things in the water. So we learned to be really, really good at not dying. Zark struggled. She tightened her grip, just slightly. He stopped struggling. We are endurance hunters. We do not have your strength, or your claws, or your acid, or your size. But we have something better. We have stubbornness, creativity, and a really annoying habit of refusing to quit. She leaned down slightly. So when I see someone 4 times my size bullying someone smaller, it activates this ancient instinct in my brain. The one that says, hey, that is not fair. Let us fix that. She released him. Zark scrambled back, all 4 arms clutching his wrist, staring at her with what I can only describe as existential confusion. Now apologize to the merchant and get out of my sight, Kira said. Zark looked at the soft shell, then at Kira, then at the crowd of beings watching him. His pride warred with his survival instinct for about 3 seconds. Survival 1. Apologies, he muttered to the merchant, then practically sprinted toward the nearest exit corridor. Kira picked up her food wrap from where she had somehow set it down on a nearby crate, completely intact. She took another bite and turned to the soft shell. You okay? The merchant's eye stalks bobbed in what I knew was a gesture of gratitude. Thank you, honored hunter. You did not have to intervene. Sure I did. Guy was an idiot. She smiled, and I swear it was genuine. Not predatory. Just kind. Besides, I hate bullies. Always have. She finished her food, tossed the wrapper in a recycler, and continued on her way like she had not just humiliated one of the station's most notorious troublemakers. That I watched her on the cameras for the next 2 hours. She visited the human food vendor, traded stories with the owner. She browsed a weapons shop, handling firearms with the casual competence of someone who knew exactly what they were doing. She even stopped to help a Punna family whose hover cart had malfunctioned, getting her hands dirty, fixing the anti-grav generator while chatting with the kids. Everywhere she went, that same pattern. Predators made space. Prey animals approached. It was like watching nature rearrange itself around a fundamental truth. Later, as she was boarding her ship to leave, I finally worked up the courage to meet her in person. I am not usually one for introductions, but curiosity got the better of me. "Miss Voss?" I called out, scuttling over on my 6 legs. She turned, those green eyes focusing on me. "Yeah, I am Vex, station coordinator. I just wanted to say, that thing with Zark earlier, that was impressive." She shrugged. "He was asking for it. Can I ask you something? How does it feel, being what you are out here?" Kira tilted her head, considering. "What am I exactly?" "An apex predator. The apex of apex predators, apparently. Every species that hunts back down from you. Every species that gets hunted trusted you." "How?" She smiled. And this time there was something ancient in it. Something that spoke of a species that had clawed its way up from the bottom of the food chain through sheer determination. Because prey animals recognize hunters, Vex. They know the difference between something that kills for food and something that kills for fun. Predators kill because they have to. Humans. She paused. We hunt monsters. We always have. It is kind of our thing. She boarded her ship, the airlock sealed, and I watched her vessel detach and slide out into the black. Rollo appeared beside me. "Think she will come back?" "I hope so," I said. Station could use more beings like that. And yeah, maybe the galaxy could too. Because when a human walks into a room, something fundamental shifts. Not because they are the biggest or the strongest or the most dangerous, though they can be all of those things, but because they are the species that looked at a universe full of monsters and said, "We can take them." And then they did. So what did you think? Did this story surprise you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this sci-fi story, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe for more mind-blowing science fiction stories every week. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.